What do,
All right.
buckaroos? No, Hickory, I am Tom, the Whiskey Whisperer, for the purposes of this show. Because, well, hey, man, my guest today is the one, the only uh, blues harpist, Rockin' Jake Jacobs. Rockin' Jake. So I met you, gosh, probably about 2002, and I've seen you about a half a dozen times over the years. But so how you doing today, and what are you drinking at the pub?
Well, I'm doing fantastic today, Tom. I really appreciate you having me on my show. Today, I'm drinking Jim Beam.
Jim Beam. All right. So how you drinking your Jim Beam? What is your drink of choice, or how do you drink it neat? All right.
Always,
Just neat.
always,
Always
always
neat.
neat, Tom. You
Always
know,
neat.
it's
No
fun.
cocktails.
Never do cocktails, man. As I like to say, booze and glass. That's it. Keep it
Booze
simple.
and glass. So I'm going to mess with you a little bit for my first
Wh-
drink of the evening.
wh-
Knowing you're a neat drinker, I decided to make myself a cocktail.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And the reason for that is I'm a bit of a glass junkie. I've got
Yeah.
glassware just all over our little house.
I love it,
Uh,
man. I
but
love it.
but my wife, even though she gives me a hard time for my glassware, is my enabler. So she picked up a lot of this glassware this past weekend at a thrift store. So I had this little
Oh,
glass here. I thought it'd be perfect for a Manhattan. So
that's
I'm drinking a
awesome, man.
Manhattan with you.
Oh, salute. Salute, man.
So
Jindal.
we were talking about whiskey. I found this one back around St. Patrick's Day, and then this is a whiskey out of Washington D.C.
All right.
It's called District Made. It's a grain to glass whiskey, and it's probably the best thing to come out of Washington D.C.
Wow.
It's a really good whiskey, uh, and there's no bull in here, no
There's no
lies, no promises, just good whiskey.
no, but if you drink enough, you'll be making the promises.
It's right.
It's
It's
in the
that
bottle. It is
2.0.
in the bottle, Tom. They just don't
It
label it.
is, man. So I've noticed you've been doing a lot of the gigging lately. So
Well,
what do you
Tom,
got going on?
before we jump in, Tom,
Okay,
we
yeah,
gotta
yeah.
we
We
gotta
got to ease
ease in.
into it. All right.
First of all, I gotta say,
Uh huh.
dude, I never drink this time of day.
Oh, never.
I know,
Okay.
but for you, I will do it. But usually this time of day, Tom, I'm having an extreme debate in my head.
Uh huh.
Do I take a nap or do I drink some espresso? But today at 5 o'clock Eastern time, we're drinking booze.
Hey, I did wait till 5 o'clock for you though, right?
Hey, I'm a
But
musician. Theoretically, I can drink anytime, but
see,
I don't.
I guess that we've kind of got different schedules. So I'm always up early and usually in bed by like 9 o'clock. But you're a
Yeah.
musician. You're always up late.
Well, the funny thing is, and I tell people this, I only drink when I'm working. I mean, who can say that,
That's funny. Yeah.
It's one of my tools. I got my harmonicas, my microphone, my amplifier, and my Jim Beam.
So we've talked before. I know you're not a beer drinker because we've talked about
I,
my
I,
craft
I
beer
used
thing.
I used to be, but it's too
Too
much
much.
liquid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been cutting
But
down actually on the beer drinking. I haven't been buying as much as I used to. And I'm trying to cut down on the whiskey too. But I want to when I do have the whiskey, I like to be able to just relax and enjoy it.
well, it's good to hear that you're cutting back. 'Cause I'm cutting back on my fentanyl usage
Is
too.
that
So
right? Well,
that's
that's probably
you
good.
know you, you just can't keep doing that stuff.
No,
You gotta dial, you gotta
not at a
dial
certain
back.
age anyway.
Exactly.
Now, if you want
Uh,
to talk about Southern California in the '80s, my upbringing, I'm not going to confirm or deny
I'm not.
anything I might
I'm
have
not gonna. I'm not gonna talk about anything in the '80s. So, but
It's
um,
all a little fuzzy, man.
well, I do want to doff my hat, which, as you can see, is a St. Louis Cardinals hat.
Gotcha. You a Cardinal fan?
Well, I was for a little while when I lived in St. Louis, and so in honor of you and all my St. Louis friends, I'm wearing my Cardinals hat. But I want to doff my hat to I forgot. Oh, to you with your the glass thing you got. Your fascination for different glasses. I'm really into that too. Every drink has a special glass, and
Yeah, I've got other glasses to pop out as I change the whiskey.
I can appreciate that. If somebody gives me a bourbon in a snifter, I seriously question their existence.
Well, I did bring a snifter out just in case.
Well, you got to put some
Of
bourbon or
course, I
I
have a
mean,
classic neat glass.
that's nice. That's nice.
And then, of course, you got to have one Glencairn handy.
And what's that for? Whiskey?
Whiskey, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's nice,
I've got
man.
a certain whiskey for this glass.
And then every wine has its own glass. Beer,
Yep,
I
yep.
like it.
Every style.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get down to business, Tom.
All
When did
right.
we?
So
When did we first?
I also know that you and I are in a couple of the same food groups on Facebook. So I also know you're a bit of a foodie besides musician.
I'm not sure what a foodie is, but I do love to cook and I love to eat.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But
but you
go
are
ahead.
you from Louisiana originally?
No, originally born and raised in Connecticut,
Oh,
Eastern
Connecticut. Okay.
Connecticut.
Why did I think you're from Louisiana?
I lived there for a long time,
Okay.
and I moved when I moved to St. Louis. I moved there from New Orleans.
Hmm.
So I lived in New Orleans for about 15 years.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I see. I think that's about the time I met you.
Because I was playing in St. Louis before I even moved there. Because I was
Oh,
on
really?
tour a
Okay.
lot. I was on tour a lot when I lived in New Orleans.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
But what I was getting at with that question was, so what are your food influences then?
Well, I've been cooking since out of necessity since I was like 20 years old.
Uh-huh.
Uh, and as I've gotten older, I'm just getting fascinated by cooking and watch all the food. I mean, I used to watch Diners and Drive-ins and Dives every day, sometimes
Uh-huh.
twice a
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
Andrew Zimmern. Uh, man, my mind will be going blank numerous times this afternoon. But Anthony Bourdain,
Yeah.
Mario Batali. I love watching these guys cook, and
Hmm.
it really inspired me a lot. So uh, as a musician, a lot of musicians cook. A
Hmm.
lot of musicians are great cook out of a necessity because it fits our budget better, you know. But also, I cook because I love the food that I make. I know what's in it. I spice it the way I want. I mean,
Uh-huh.
I
Yeah.
it's hard to go to a place and get it spiced the way you like. I like pretty
Yep.
spicy food. So, and I put everything. Sometimes if I told somebody what I put in a dish that I made, they'd be like, "That's crazy," But I like it. It all kind of works together. So, but cooking, I think, encompasses a lot of the same skills that playing music does.
Uh-huh.
To be a good chef, you can't just know, uh, you know, techniques. You got to have sort of a sixth sense.
Yeah, yeah.
What is the quantity? What spices work well together? What vegetables work well together? That kind of thing. So I like it because it's really it encompasses a lot of the same qualities of being a musician, cooking. So anyway, I love pizza.
The pizza, yeah. I
Yeah,
tell folks I can live off pizza and Mexican food.
yeah, yeah. So I love cooking, man, and I'm so grateful and fortunate right now to have a new girlfriend who is amazing human being, but also unbelievable cook. Tom, she's Italian, and she
Oh, there
learned
you
from
go.
she learned from her grandmother, and the stuff that she cooks is just absolutely incredible. And I'm opening myself up because there's a lot of stuff I don't, I would stay away from food wise, but
Uh-huh.
now with her, whatever she wants to cook, I'm gonna eat. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
always good. So I want to say hi to Carla if you're watching, baby. How you doing?
Oh, that's
She,
nice. Yeah.
she could be washing a dog right now. I don't know. She's a dog groomer. She's a
Well, that's
dog
nice. You
groomer.
don't have to cook all the time anymore then. You don't have that necessity.
No, I'm almost afraid to cook for her because she's such a good cook.
Yeah. But my story is a little bit different. I mean, my dad had they call them food trucks now, but growing up had a hot truck,
Had
and
a
they
what?
weren't trendy back then.
He
They were
he had a
functional, so we used the truck we'd hit all the construction sites back in the early 70s in Southern California. So, I
Cool.
mean, hell, by the time I was 8 years old, I can cook anything on a flat top that can be cooked. If it can be
Wow,
fried on a flat top, I could cook it, baby.
that's awesome. So, do you cook a lot yourself?
I do. Yeah, it's probably the same for you when you're doing a lot of cooking. It's kind of therapy, right? It's kind of a
Oh,
stress reliever.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. And
Let you get out of your
Carl,
head while you're thinking of the dish and the spices you want to use.
and the other thing about it is when you cook or when my girlfriend cooks, there's love in that food, man.
Yeah,
It's not a specific ingredient, but you know it when you eat it, you know?
yeah, yeah.
So I love that, man.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, I really enjoy cooking. The rule is, I like to be alone when I cook. I don't want to be talked to unless I approach you. I want to, just you got to let me get my thoughts together. Let me process my day, and it all
Yeah, no,
comes to you
yeah,
when I'm ready
yeah.
for a conversation.
There's a lot going on, man.
Yeah,
You got time things, and you're thinking a little bit ahead. Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
and I kind of use it to kind of process my day. I'm running through everything in my mind that I want to talk about or don't talk about.
Right, right, right. All right, Tom, don't get drunk too soon, all right?
I'll slow it down. First, my first one of the day.
I've had two sips and I'm drunk already. The problem is I'm going to
Oh,
be
you're a
hungover.
musician. You can't say that.
The problem is I'm going to be hungover at 8 o'clock tonight.
Well, I'm glad you're not gigging tonight, then.
Oh yeah, no, I couldn't do this. When I was getting
Because
tech because right,
so we've been trying to put this together for a while, but
right.
our schedules haven't been meshing up because you've been getting a lot of last minute gigs, and I got to
Um,
respect that. Anytime you get a gig, hey man, don't waste your time talking to me. Do the gig.
Well, I'm very fortunate, man. Living down in South Florida, it's probably one of the busiest music areas in the country.
Really? Wow.
I mean, the last year or two has been amazing, really,
Yeah,
and
that's good.
I'm very grateful and very fortunate, to have a lot of work.
So I know you've been touring most around Florida. Are you getting out of there as we come out of the COVID years? Are you starting to tour around the country
Well,
more?
I think the last time I was on the road was right before COVID, 2019.
Hmm.
And since then, I haven't been on the road. So that's like 4 years. And,
Hmm.
I'm not 35 or 45 anymore. So if I can work this much here and make
Yeah,
this money here, being on the road as a band leader, man, is stressful
yeah,
as
it is. Yeah,
fuck. I can swear, right?
absolutely. Yeah.
It's stressful as fuck, man. But I love it. I mean, I love touring. But again, uh, I did it for 25 years or so, maybe more.
Yeah.
And and the other issue is my van right now has over 500,000 miles, and it's
Oh, good
still running
lord.
like a top. But at any time, it's sort of like Damocles sword. Transmission could go out. I don't want to be in Iowa at 3 o'clock in the morning and have my transmission go out.
Carla left us a heart. I wanted to post it up there for you. I don't know if that's somebody you're aware of, but
That's
she's not
that's
a
my
viewer
girl.
of mine, so it must be somebody you know.
That's my girlfriend who I was
Is
talking
that your
about.
girlfriend? Oh, there you
Yeah,
go. Okay, you mentioned Carla. I should have known that. Well, hi, Carla.
yeah, yeah.
Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.
Hey, baby.
Hey, and invite me over for some of that Italian food.
For what? Oh
Invite me
man,
over for some of that Italian food.
Tom, you don't even know, man. That's funny because that's what she says. So we're both picking up each other's phrases.
Uh,
So, so anyway, she learned to cook from her grandmother at the age of like 3.
oh
She told me
gosh. Okay.
she's rolling tortellinis at 3 years
Oh
old. I
gosh. Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. I don't have those kind of skills.
no. So like when I'm watching her in the kitchen, it's like kind of watching her channel her grandmother in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Not that I never knew her grandmother, but I can imagine that that's where it's coming from. So it's wonderful.
So you mentioned sort of the what's the word I'm looking for? Cooks and musicians. You've got to kind of have a few. You can't just have technique. You have to have some technique, but a lot of it is in your heart, right? You got to cook from the heart. You have to
Absolutely.
know the techniques to get certain things right. But if you don't have the feel for it, if you don't have the heart, it's just going to sound like you're playing notes, right?
Exactly. I mean, like with music, you have to know the notes and the technical aspects of playing music. But then what you do with that, that's you, and that's from
Yeah,
your heart and your soul. Same thing with food. You have to know what all the spices are
yeah.
and the food Carla's commenting. I'm
Yeah, yeah, I'm
already
looking
learning.
it up.
I'm already learning cooking techniques from her. I thought I knew it
Oh,
all,
very nice,
but
very nice.
so I'm learning from her. But anyway, so you know the spices, you know the ingredients, and it's how what you do with it and how you put it all together. That's the music, man,
Yeah,
of making food.
yeah.
So
And it all has to come together a certain way. It's not always the ingredients you add. Sometimes it's how you put it all together, how
exactly,
you add it, how you add this. And I imagine being a musician is kind of the same thing. It's not the notes in particular; it's how you put them together.
Tom. Why am I even here? You should just you're like reading
Sorry,
my
I get a
mind.
monologue sometimes.
No. I mean, it's like that. You're taking the words right out of my mouth. It's
Oh,
true.
thank you. Well, I was a wannabe musician way back when. I just didn't have quite the talent for it, but I do listen to a lot. And now I used to
Hey,
be a keyboard player way back when, but now I've got arthritis so bad I can't do anything with those hands.
what is your job? Your day job?
I work for a nonprofit, and my job is basically to get I order and deliver food and write menus for uh, where we have at risk after school care. So all the kids get fed. That's kind of my job. Make sure
Interesting,
and
man.
I have to do it to certain guidelines, to state guidelines, making sure we're only serving healthy food and being prepared in a healthy way. So
Well, that's nice.
I spent about 25 years in retail management, and I got so tired of it when I had an opportunity to do this and make a whole lot less money, but do a whole lot more good. I took it. So I've been
Well,
doing
it's
this for
nice.
about 4 years.
That's nice that you took your love and talent for food and turned it into a
Yeah,
beautiful giving thing that you're doing.
yeah. And whenever I see this, see the kids all know me. That's Mr. Tom. That's Mr. Tom. So are you cooking today, Mr. Tom? Because they all like when I cook. So
Nice, nice.
so
So,
that's yeah.
when did we first meet, Tom?
So the first time I met you, I believe, was at a place called St. Michael's here in town. There was a
And
blues fest, but
that
they had artists at several venues in town, several bars, and you were playing at one of the bars, and you knew a friend of mine, Tim Gregory. Tim bounced at a club in oh gosh, you were at that motorcycle rally, Sturgis. You were playing a club in Sturgis, and he was a bouncer for that club. And then
huh?
uh, you met him out at St. Michael's at that blues fest. I believe it was, I don't know, 2002, 2003, something like that.
Wow.
So yeah, that's when I met you for the first time. And
I,
you were so
I
nice and friendly, man. I think we knocked some whiskey back that night, if I'm not mistaken. But it was a long
I don't
time
think
ago.
I don't think you were mistaken, Tom. I don't think you are. But it's funny. I don't remember that gig, and I don't remember Tim
Really?
Gregory.
Oh yeah.
My memory is, not what it used to be.
Well, yeah. Well, they say
So
alcohol.
that's why I want to talk to you. You can remind me of what happened in my life.
They say alcohol affects a short-term memory, and sometimes it also affects a short-term memory.
That's very funny. That's good.
Yeah, that was the first time I met you. Was you had the full-time work disc out,
Right, man.
and that was
21
just a
years
great
ago,
album,
dude.
man. That disc
Thank
was
you.
perfect.
Believe it or not, that was the last studio record I've made under my name.
Really?
21 years ago. But fortunately, I'm in the process of creating a new CD, and I'm very excited about it. And I've got to send a shout out to my friend Paul Niehaus. He's got a great record label called Blue Lotus,
Uh-huh.
and he's put out some really great St. Louis artists on the label. And he offered for me to come into his studio. He offered. We ran into each other at a festival in New Hampshire a couple of years ago, and he said, "Jake, I'd like to produce your next record at my studio." And I said, "Man," so it just worked out perfectly that I coordinated recording in a studio I got hired for a private party outside of Topeka, Kansas.
Oh,
So I
wow.
flew into St. Louis, and then I had to put the band together. I had a couple of guys from Kansas City in the rhythm section, and Paul was on guitar. So I flew to St. Louis. Paul and I drove to Topeka, did the gig. Then we came back to his house in St. Louis and recorded the record. And I'm very happy with we did the basic tracks and there. And now here I've got a amazing friend and musical partner named Bonefish Johnny, who has a little studio in his house, and he's helping me like overdub vocals and harmonica and a few other things. So it's
Very
taken
nice.
quite a while. Pardon me, it's taken quite a while, but we're getting quite a bit done, and I'm very happy with the results. So the songs are all original, man. They're all from the heart.
Really?
They're very,
Wow. So
very
what direction are you taking this disc?
Man, you know what? I never even know what my music is. But honestly, it's just music to me. But Paul is really into like Memphis. He calls his studio, oh shit, Muscle Shoals of the Midwest.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, so he took a few of my songs and kind of rearranged them into sort of a Stax Muscle Shoals soul sound,
Oh,
which
nice, nice.
which they didn't really originally have. But he did a really awesome job arranging the songs and producing them, So, and there's some blues, of course, but I don't have anything slow on there. I don't have a slow blues or a ballad. Uh,
Mm-hmm. Well,
I
good.
have yeah. So but like I say, all original, man, all from the heart, and quite a few of them very personal lyrics.
I was playing some of your stuff before we started, and the song "It's All Good" came out, and my wife really liked that one. That's just a
That's
great, great song, man.
right. I mean,
It's a good feel good
who
song, right?
it is a feel good song, and you know where that came from, Tom, is when I was coming up. I mean, I first started listening to music. Probably, I was born in '59, so I was listening to music on transistor radio in the '60s, and my dad was a ham radio operator and into electronics and radios and stuff, and he had a shortwave radio where I could get stations from all over the world,
Yeah,
and also I could listen to music. So I was listening, and what great music was coming out in the '60s, man. Motown, rock and
yeah,
roll,
yeah.
all kinds of great, the Beatles, all kinds of great music was coming out in the '60s. And I don't know where I'm going with this. What was the original question? Tom, help me out here, bro. You gotta keep me on
This is what
track.
happens when you get two old guys drinking whiskey.
Where was I going,
You were
Tom?
talking about the direction of the disc, that your
Right, okay,
inspiration, I
good.
guess. Yeah.
I still don't know where it was. But
It doesn't
uh
matter. It doesn't matter.
it matters. And it matters that I don't know where we're going. But it
Oh,
matters,
mercy.
but what
See,
can you do,
this is why I don't call this an interview show. That's why it's called At the Pub. We're just having a conversation. Because this will happen
Well,
all the time when you're talking to a friend at the pub. You'll both lose direction of where the hell the
oh
conversation is
no.
going.
I just remembered, Tom.
Yeah, yeah.
The point of this was you talked about the song It's All Good,
That's all good. That's it. Yeah.
which was inspired by uh there's a gentleman named John Sinclair, and he famous in certain circles. I mean, John Lennon wrote a song about him, and he was very, very active in the '60s as a radical, and involved in starting the Ann Arbor Blues Festival in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And he moved to New Orleans a little bit later than I did, but someone was telling me about him, and I said, I got to meet this guy. So we ended up being friends, and he's writing in New Orleans. He was writing poetry, and
Uh-huh.
but poetry about music and set to music. So he put a little band together to back him up while he recited his poems. It was very
Oh, wow.
interesting, and I'm on about 4 or 5 of his records,
Oh, very
something like
nice.
that. But he had a song called "It's All Good," and we never had really specific songs when we backed him up, but we were doing this one gig at the Green Parrot in Key West, and my band was there, and the Green Parrot flew John in for this one concert, and he did that song, and the music that we kind of started playing was kind of the genesis for the song. But I got together with that song is on my Badmouth CD, which was produced by John Grow, a phenomenal musician in New Orleans. And him and I got together to put this song together. And I said, man, I want a feel good song because the music I came up with made me feel good. Songs like Just My Imagination by the Temptations, Groovin' by the Young Rascals, All Day Music by War. All those songs always made me feel good, you know. And so we came up with this, and all I had was "It's All Good." There's no lyrics in it except for "It's All Good," and we're like, what do we need lyrics for, you know? So anyway, that's why I wrote, because I wanted to make a song that made people feel as good as the music that I listened to made me feel good, you know. So
it does have a bit of a Young Rascals feel now that you say
totally, totally. And if you listen to Betty Wright, who's a singer from Miami, actually, she had a song called "Tonight's the Night." Write that down. Listen to it. It sounds exactly like "It's All Good." And I had never heard her song before I wrote it. Until I didn't hear it till a few years after I had written it, you know. So anyway, that's the story behind "It's All Good." But
so
it makes me feel good to play it too. What
took you so long in between discs? What
well, that's a good question, man. There's a lot of factors.
It took a while to get inspired again.
Well, no, well, there's a lot of factors, Tom. One is I was kind of starting to gear up. I put out a CD live at the Green Parrot in 2004. Called 5 p.m. Breakfast. It's a live CD. And I was starting to gear up for an original record. And I got married in 2004. And just a few months after I got married, my wife, now ex-wife, was diagnosed with breast cancer.
Oh no!
So I was dealing with that, and in the midst of that, Hurricane Katrina, destroyed our home in New Orleans. So it was a tumultuous time. I really couldn't focus on it. But then also, and then we moved. You know, then we moved to Texas after Katrina. Then 6 months later, we moved to St. Louis, and I was there for 6 years. So. And then of course there's the financial aspect of recording, you know. Moving from place to place, it takes a long time to get established in a locale, you know.
It does.
So things have been tight. So fortunately, these last few years down here in Florida, things are really pretty good.
Well, good.
So it's you know. Fortunately, I got divorced, so I got some really good material out of that, you know. So
making lemonade out of lemons, were you?
Yeah, you know. Plus,
making whiskey sours, if it were.
Well, and I wrote a song about my love for pizza too. So it spans a lot of ground. You know, it's not all heartbreak and suffering, Tom.
Oh, good. So I did pour myself a little something here, and I opened this just for the first time. I haven't tried this whiskey at all. I've never had it before. I'm going to have it for the first time with you. It's from Restless Spirits out of Kansas City, Missouri. It's her double barrel aged. It's a single malt whiskey, not a bourbon, but a single malt whiskey out of Kansas City. So I'm going to have this for the first time with you, using my Glencairn here.
Salute, man.
Oh, wow.
Just
to you. Blanche. Being of Irish heritage, I'll go Irish on you.
You must embrace your heritage, Tom.
I agree, yeah.
Embrace it and flaunt it. So, hey, all right, go ahead.
No, I was taking a drink. Go ahead, you talk.
I want to watch you.
Oh, here we go.
You are a connoisseur, man, of beer, whiskey, and food, and music.
Yeah, I don't know that I like the word because it seems pretentious, but yeah, I don't disagree. Right, I feel them all deeply, right? The music, the food, the whiskey, the beer. Yeah, I feel everything deeply. Yeah.
Right. I hear you. I feel the same.
Everything is serious or not serious, I guess. I mean, I just it's again, it's more about the heart than the head, I guess, for me. All
right.
the music,
Oh, absolutely. That's how I want my music. I want my music to be felt. I don't want somebody to say, "Wow, this guy played a million notes. He's a real technician." I don't want that, man. I want to play less notes, but hit you.
yeah,
Like the best compliment anyone ever gave me was like, "Your music moved me."
yeah,
That's the
yeah.
best compliment I can get.
Very nice.
So, what do you think of that whiskey, Tom?
It's very nice. I'm going to give you a couple notes here. So it's aged in two different barrels, so you kind of get those big barrel notes right away. But it's also what's great about it's not necessarily the aromas or even the flavors. It's the viscosity, the mouthfeel. It just comes together in a perfect way. So you get these vanilla, these toffee notes. You might get some dark fruit notes as well. You might find a little date or fig, depending on your palate.
Are you picking up any mushroom in it or clover?
No.
I'm just kidding, man.
Well, I've had, again, there was the '80s and mushrooms, and
Yeah,
but that's a whole different thing altogether.
I find it fascinating. Getting back to connoisseur, I mean, to express what you're tasting like that, to express what you're tasting like that is really that takes a lot. I admire that.
Got a nice finish. Got a nice
Like
oaky, spicy finish. Oh,
if I was to do this, Tom,
uh-huh. With Jim Beam, yeah.
I'd say notes of cigarette ashes and potato skins. I don't know, man. I don't know what it is. It's
So do you have a
booze.
whiskey of choice that's not Jim Beam if you're drinking?
Well, I drink Jim Beam for a few reasons. One is you know what you're going to get. I characterize it as
Yeah, yeah,
the Budweiser of bourbon. It's not great. It's not bad, but most bars have it, and
yeah,
it's reasonably inexpensive.
yeah. That's
I don't
true.
want to when I'm playing. I don't want to spend a lot of money
Yeah,
on fine booze. But if I go out, I'll try. Or if I buy a bottle, I do like some of the finer bourbons, like Baker's or
mm,
Angel's Envy or uh, Woodford Reserve. There's a few others that I can't really remember. But, I can take a fine bourbon, but I rarely have the budget for it. I mean, at $9.99 for a quart, how can you
hey,
go wrong?
you can't beat it, can you?
Can't beat that, man.
And I admire your constitution for drinking Jim Beam neat.
I have to, man. I can't. I don't want to dilute it. I don't see the point, really. I do like to watch you drink that, though. That's very
Yeah.
exotic. Very exotic, yeah.
Well, thanks. That's not what I was going for, but I appreciate that.
No, because you do it unconsciously.
See, that's the problem. Yeah, I do a lot of things that way. Yeah.
Yeah, but
I
that's
just
cool.
want to
Though.
watch you. I'll get comments later about some of my videos, and folks will say, "I can't believe you said this, that, or the other thing." I said, "I don't remember saying that." I got to go
Well,
back and watch the video now. That I
I
have
am.
Tourette. I
I
have Tourette, so I say things and I have these little weird tics and mannerisms that people will comment on.
Oh wow. Okay, I didn't pick up on that. So
Yeah.
are you gonna? Well, I don't want to get to that. I'm sorry to hear that. But I don't know if I'm drunk yet or not, but I feel pretty good.
There you go. Well, hell, we're early, and we got about half a show left.
Okay. So what else? What else you got, man?
So we talked about food, music.
Well,
So
we
bourbon.
didn't get
So I know more of so you drink Jim Beam, but you were talking about the Woodford Reserve. Have you had the double oak Woodford Reserve?
no, Tom.
They do a double oak version that's just insanely good. Anyway,
You know what?
I'm going off the rails.
No. I really don't go to bars, man. I mean, I'm working enough. If I'm not gigging, I'm chilling.
Mhm. Yeah,
And I
and that makes that makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
and kind of the last place I want to be is in a bar.
yeah,
Because I'm in them. Sometimes 7 nights a week.
yeah. I've noticed you've been doing a lot of gigging, man. So I mean, it must be really hopping there in Florida where you're
Yes,
at.
well, it's what's called season, which is Thanksgiving or the heaviest is after Christmas, but it starts in November and goes till about Easter down here, where everyone comes down here and then they leave. So it's not season anymore. But so when it is season, stuff is hopping, man.
Oh wow!
You know,
So we talked about your Rockin' Jake years, but you're also in another project called the Low Mids, which I found very interesting. Would you explain that to folks?
well, I don't mean to correct you, Tom, but it is the Low
The Low Mids.
Mids.
My bad. Yeah, the Low Mids. There you go.
Well, it's got two E's on there, so you know.
So
So
explain that project. Explain that
you know
project
what?
for folks listening.
I mentioned the gentleman Bonefish Johnny. You know,
Uh
he's
huh.
helping me overdub. This guy, he's a one of a kind individual, man. He's like he's a mad genius, but he's very sane. You know, he's like uber sane, and but he's I go over there usually once a week to rehearse with him, or 9 times out of 10, it's just him showing me music videos or other things that blow my mind. He's turned me on to so much music that a lot of it I've never even heard of before or heard
Yeah.
about the genres. But he's into blues deep, you know, reggae, dub, ska, whatever. I mean, he turned me on to bossa nova, which I've been listening to all day on my earbuds, you know. But anyway, Velo Mids, that was his brainchild. He's really a wizard at audio editing and
Mm-hmm.
video editing.
Wow.
And
Okay.
so he is funny as hell, man. He showed me this video. You know, this friend, mutual friend of ours on Facebook, had to posted a random video of this door closing, and it creaked, and people go, and he goes, "What note is this?" It's like, and when he closed the door, he's closing the door, and it makes a sound. So Johnny took that off of his Facebook page, added like dance tracks underneath it, and it's just crazy. So Velo Mids is him taking blues, uh, reggae, dub music, like Augustus. He turned me on to Augustus Pablo, who's a
Uh-huh.
Jamaican dub, whatever that little piano that you blow through is called, melodica, uh, which is very similar to the harmonica.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so anyway, it's hard for me to describe what it is. I would urge people to go to thelowmids.com, TheLowMids.com, and that'll give you our music. And also neverglades.com, which has a lot of Bonefish Johnny's solo creations. He's just really amazing. The amount, like every time I'm with him, he expounds on a different subject, and I go, man, the
Sounds like
world
my kind of guy.
the world needs to know about Bonefish Johnny. I said, dude, he's
Very
just
nice.
talking. We were just talking yesterday. I'm like, I want to put you on Facebook Live right now. People need to hear this. So
Well, hey, if
anyway,
he ever wants to do a video with me, bring him on.
oh, absolutely, you would love it, man. He will blow your mind, man.
So I
I
want
would
to, I want
definitely.
to add something. So I was listening to, I
And
watched
he's
the videos of the
wait,
Low Mids,
wait a
and
minute,
listening to some of your.
wait a minute.
Go ahead,
Tom,
buddy.
wait a minute. We're gonna get there, but he would love to come on with you because he
Yeah.
is really into cocktails
Oh,
and the
nice.
prop. Yes, and the proper glass and like vintage
Oh, that would be
cocktails and
awesome.
vintage cocktail glasses.
Oh,
So that
that
being
would be
said,
awesome. I would love that. That would be cool.
yeah, I'm gonna tell him about you. Anyway, I'm sorry to cut you off and
No,
yelling,
no, it's okay. I'm
but
glad you did.
but I'm drunk, so you know this is
So
my
no, I was
apology.
listening to the description as I was listening to the music of the Low Mids. Everything
Yeah.
you said is right, but I want to add one more descriptor. Is I felt like I was getting a little psychedelia because I felt like I heard like a little some 13th floor elevators in there,
Well, I'm not from. I've heard of the name of the band,
or
13th
maybe
Floor
electric
Elevator.
prunes, but a little bit of that psychedelic sound in there.
Dude, we'll go anywhere. And like we're doing You're not going to believe this. We're doing just like we're into like lounge music,
Uh-huh.
and he had this great vintage drum machine that you would have on a one of those old organs that your grandmother might have, with the lace doily on top.
Mm-hmm.
And like you hit the button, rumba, cha cha, rock and roll one, rock and roll two, stuff like
Oh, I lost you. Uh-oh. I don't know what happened there.
got a call. Anyway, so where was I? Oh, so anyway, you got to check out these videos. They're fascinating, man. I think they're awesome. Um, where was I going, Tom? What were we saying? Oh, so we're into lounge music.
Yeah, yeah, lounge music.
So we go, dude, we have to get as schmaltzy, loungy as possible. He goes, what is the most schmaltzy song? I said, Just the Way You Are by Billy Joel.
Yeah, there we go.
We do it. And you know what? It's a great tune, man. I like playing
That's
the
funny.
harp to it. Johnny loves the lyrics to it, and he's into it. And then one night we're playing, and as you know, and I hate to cast aspersions, but there's a lot of idiots in bars, right?
Yeah,
So
you think?
we're playing stuff. And guy comes up, hey, could you play Sweet Caroline? So you know what? Instead of fighting it, Tom, we did,
You went with
and
it?
now it's part of our repertoire, and it's the biggest song of the night. I'm telling you, man.
Oh,
But
God.
the funny thing is this: nobody really gets. You've got to be like that one hip dude in the back of the room with a goatee who says, "I get these guys."
Yeah.
Because people don't really get what we're doing, but what it is we play tracks, but we're not really a track act. We're sort of a parody, a very deadpan parody.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain. And I that might have given it away too much, but I don't know. But that's kind of that's honest. That's what we're doing.
Well, as I was watching the videos, that's kind of with the direction I was thinking, but I wasn't going to say that.
Yeah.
But 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 the, but
Yeah,
the, but the music was brilliant. I mean, everything was. Oh my God, what the hell are these guys doing?
he took Neil Young's "Like a Hurricane" and turned it into a house music rave song. And then after we recorded it, I guess there's these apps that you can send a song to a producer in Sri Lanka or Tokyo or wherever in Czechoslovakia. They're all over the world. So he spent $100 and sent that song there. And he said, give it a real. I don't know what he said to the guy, but I think it's phenomenal what this producer did, and it sounds like something you would hear on the radio, and it has probably one of my best recorded harmonica solos ever.
Well, very
I'm
nice.
just really really happy with it, and that's on the Zelo Mids website. I encourage everyone to check that out. Um, like a hurricane.
Like a hurricane. Okay, I'll listen to it.
Yes.
Yeah, I found it very interesting because I was looking at what was available on Spotify and YouTube, and then I checked out the Neverglades as well. So that's very nice. I would love to. I need to get in touch with Bonefish Johnny too. That would be an
Dude,
interesting conversation.
you're gonna need 5 hours with this guy,
That
and
would be that would be a hoot.
that
Yeah.
won't be enough. But in an hour, he'll blow your mind, man, for sure.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I schedule these shows not necessarily for an hour, but I usually do that for the convenience of the guest, right? Because I know you guys are busy. A lot of you folks have gigs afterwards, so I'll schedule an hour. But some folks I've talked with when I did a video with Scott Ellison, I mean, we talked for an hour and a half, and
Yeah,
I don't think we were done.
musicians, we got a lot on our minds, man.
But
And very few people who will listen to us.
That's right. So even listening to your early stuff, I know you've got a blues influence, but early on, especially even the early stuff, I heard a lot of soul and funk influence as well.
Man, I love it all. I love it all so much. I love it all. And And as a harmonica player, of course, my harmonica is very well suited to the blues, of course.
Yes.
And but I want to take the harmonica. I want to be a musician, So that's been my goal, is to go from a harmonica player to a musician. And I'm kind of at the beginning. I've been playing for 48 years. I'm kind of at the beginning of that
There you
part
go.
where I'm playing, I think, and people tell me this, that I'm playing like a musician. So that's a great compliment.
That's
But
nice.
I rarely, if ever, listen to harmonica players ever. I want to be inspired by saxophone, guitar, piano, trumpet, accordion, whatever, and I want to play the music that I love, and and I want to play it. Uh, I want to play it accurately. I want to hit. I don't want to play it almost got the right notes. I want to play the right notes.
Yeah.
So that takes some work, and I'm working on it.
It's a constant, isn't it?
There's a what?
It's a constant. You're always working on something.
Hey, man, a good
Like again,
musician
it's
is
like music, food. It's all the same. You're always trying to find the next.
right,
I got to
and
get
you're
a little.
never.
This was good, but I got to get it just a little better.
As my girlfriend Carla says, we'll never be done. We're gonna keep working on it.
So you mentioned the saxophone. Do you have sax players that have influenced you?
It's fun. I'm not sure who has influenced me and who is coming through my music, but I mean, obviously John Coltrane, and
I was
Sonny
going to mention
Rollins.
Coltrane. Yeah, I don't know if it's Coltrane, Tina Brooks,
But I don't
Lee
know if
Morgan.
I don't know if it comes through my playing or not.
Yeah.
But musically, it inspires me. And Pharoah Sanders. I'm a big fan of Pharoah Sanders, and Coleman Hawkins. My God, man, and Ben Webster. Oh my God. Ooh, wow, these guys are amazing. So yeah. And I mean, I love Zydeco. I love Cajun music. I love
Yeah, yeah,
blues and all kinds of blues. I love soul music so hard, man. I love jazz, all kinds of jazz.
yeah.
I mean, from
And
the
you can
outs
hear that
out.
in some of those songs too. Does it drive you crazy when folks want to put you in one particular box, so you have to do this or do that?
No, like, but I guess my hardest thing, Tom, is to people ask me what kind of music do I play, and I don't know. I
You
can't
just
I
play.
can't I can't characterize it really. We mix it up. We play whatever we want to play, and like I don't even know what the low mids are. It's great music. I love it. I love playing it. Uh, Maybe Bonefish Johnny has a good. He calls it electronica,
Yeah,
lounge core, and electro blues.
yeah, yeah.
That's how that. These are like hashtags.
And that makes sense. But like I said, when I was listening to it, I heard that bit of psychedelic influence as well. A little bit of 13th floor elevators,
Well,
electric prunes, that kind of thing.
because we love all that, man. We love it all. We just love it. Whatever, we love it all. I
Very
love it
nice.
all. I love it all.
That's the thing about music. You shouldn't be trapped in one particular box, should you?
Well, no one wants to be trapped in anything.
Yeah,
But some musicians like being in a box. It's
yeah,
funny.
that's true.
I don't want to mention any names, but I had some friends from a foreign country, and they came to visit when I was living in New Orleans. I said, and they went to the New Orleans Jazz Fest where there's all different kind of genres going on, and he goes,
Mhm.
"Oh, I didn't like this, and I didn't like that." I go, "Man, you got to step out of the box." And he goes, "I like it in the box." Which I thought was a funny thing.
Oh,
But
mercy.
some people like the box.
That's true.
Some people
It
can't
depends
handle
on what
freedom.
box we're talking about.
Right. Some people can't handle freedom, Tom.
That's true. Yeah, yeah. That's kind of my thing too. Is I never know what kind of mood I'm in. Oh, I lost you again. Oh, there you go. You're
Okay.
back. I lost you for a second there.
Uh, Well, yeah, I'm getting a couple calls here, but
Oh, there
I
you
should have
go.
I probably should have put it on Do Not Disturb, but I'm not very technologically advanced, as you know.
See, that's my problem too. I tell you, see, I was telling you about Scott Ellison. So the first we did a show together. It was my second show, and being two old guys, uh, we were having some technical difficulties, but neither one of us were smart enough to figure out what that technical difficulty was until I think it was like his son that figured it out. So we finally got it figured out, but the show started an hour late. So we ended up talking for an hour and a half. But if the show hadn't started an hour late, we probably would have talked for 2.5 hours.
Right. So
But
I don't remember.
technology is not my friend, man.
Well, it can be, you know, but I just don't. I'm afraid. I'm afraid. You know, very
I
afraid.
need somebody younger to work through the bugs for me.
Yeah, got to hire a youngster.
That's right. It's funny where I work during the day. I mean, almost everybody I work with is about 30 years my junior. So
There you go. You have a wealth of opportunities, Tom.
I've got that IT just waiting to happen.
Hey, I'll make you a roast beef dinner if you come over to my house and fix my computer.
Oh, mercy.
So I don't know. I don't remember anything we just talked about, Tom. So where are we going?
Well, you can rewatch it later. Even when I'm not drinking, I rarely remember what I've said. So that's what you people will say. Well, Tom, you said this. Well, hell, I don't know. I got to rewatch it. I don't like watching myself. I got to watch it to see what I said. I
Right,
tell
right.
folks, I never know what I'm going to say. It's always a surprise to me too.
Well, I'm glad we touched on Velo Mids because it's a really a
Yeah.
fun, interesting project for us. You know, it's always challenging. And like for example, one of our videos which Johnny made, the genius that he is, I had a beeping in my van.
Mhm.
It had something to do with something in my rear axle, but every time and it would stay on the whole time I was driving. So I go, Johnny, we got to make a video with this. So he videoed me. You got to watch the video. It's called Beep Sweet.
Okay, I'll check it out.
It's funny as shit, man. And he starts off with I'm sitting in the driver's seat of my van, and I turn it on. He goes, "It stays on all the time." I go, "All the time," but it's got kind of a groove to it, you know. And then it cuts to the music. He composed the music around the beep. So and the beep is all the way through the song. You can't hear it sometimes. You hear it in the beginning and at the end, but it's in there. You got to check it out. It's called Beep Sweet.
Beeps. I'll check it out. Check it
But
out.
he does all kinds of crazy stuff like that. You got to see some of the videos he's done, man. Just amazing.
So other than the videos, does any of this translate live? Do you guys gig with this material?
Very little, a little bit, a little. I think he really started the Low Mids as a studio project
Mm-hmm.
just to do videos and do songs
Yeah.
because he's kind of what he said semi-retired. But this is all I do is play music, and so I kind of coerced him into playing out live because I need to gig as much as I possibly can. Hey, hold on for 1 second. I'll be back in 2 minutes. I got to show you my latest project, Tom.
All right, no problem.
All right, hey, well, check this out. We,
You got that John
yeah,
Candy thing.
yeah. All
Anyway,
right,
I digress. So we're
I'll be
hanging
right
out
back.
tonight with the one and only Rockin' Jake. Man, this has been a really interesting conversation as always. I wasn't able to work this in earlier as I usually do. If you have any questions or comments, please put it up on the screen, man, and I will put it out there for the world to see. Oh man, I first met Jake many years ago when we were both much younger, and I was a whole lot skinnier. I was a lot skinnier back then, man.
Everybody was
Anyway.
skinnier. Everybody was skinnier back then, Tom.
All right.
All right, Tom, are you ready for this?
I'm ready. I'm ready. Oh yeah. So I've been trying to, man, I got to figure out how you can ship some of those to me. So tell me about how that started.
Can you read that?
On spicy dill pickles. Yeah. Yeah. I've been wanting to get some ever since I heard you start, or I started seeing them posted on Facebook. So,
Right.
how do I get a jar in my neck of the woods?
Well, we could. You know what? I will definitely do it for you. Definitely ship it for you. But after I'm starting to get older, I shipped some to. I've shipped to California,
Oh
Kansas
my
City,
goodness.
Chicago,
Wow.
Salt Lake City, all over, and it's like, man. First of all, it's a serious pain in the ass packing it
Yeah,
up,
I bet it is. Yeah,
and secondly, it's expensive
it is.
for the person buying them. It's like $25 to ship 2 jars.
Yeah. So how did this get
But
started for you? Are you always been a pickle guy, or how did this get started for you?
well, yeah. I mean, I'm Jewish, man. I've never been without a pickle in my whole life. I mean, there's never did our refrigerator not have pickles in it in
That's
my whole
funny.
life, and I've always eaten pickles, and I love pickles. And I was like, part of the cooking thing, Tom, is instead of using jarred sauce or canned enchilada sauce, I look at the label and said, "Fuck it, I can do that." You know, pickles. Fuck it, I can do that. You know what I mean? I'd rather do it myself than buy it, have it made from some dude in a factory somewhere who hates
Yeah.
his life. Are you
Yep.
kidding
Yep.
me? I'll make it and love it. So anyway, so I made a jar and it came out really good. I mean, I fine tuned it.
Hmm.
I started in October of last year, and I fine tuned it. Now I have a standard recipe that I follow. At first
Yeah.
I was doing it all eyeballing it, every jar. So there are probably little discrepancies
Yeah. Yeah.
in each jar, but now I have a standardized recipe,
Very
and
nice.
they're consistently excellent and all natural, man. And right now, the Florida cucumbers are in, so I'm using all Florida cucumbers and
Very nice. Very nice.
spring water,
Oh
kosher
wow.
salt, all natural, and all the ingredients. I don't even use calcium chloride, which every pickle company does,
Hmm.
because it makes the cucumbers crispy.
Yeah.
And fuck that, man. If it ain't crispy, it's not going in the jar. All right. I'm putting crispy pickles in the jar.
That's right.
So I mean, crispy cucumbers, soon to be pickles. So anyway, I sat home and I made a jar, and it tasted really good. And then I made a couple extra and gave to friends. And they're like, "Oh, you should sell these." So I said, "You know what? What the hell?" So I did, and then, dude, the thing took off like insane because people started posting it on Facebook. People who were
Yeah.
buying them. I didn't even ask people to help me promote it. They were like,
Hmm.
"Oh man, I had these pickles. They're off the chain," and and then it became like a thing. Well, because it was mostly musicians, really. That were my friends who were musicians who were buying, and musicians and music lovers who were buying the pickles.
Yeah.
And so it became like, oh man, so and so Albert Castillo loves the pickles. I got to get these pickles, man.
That's right. Yeah. If
JP
Albert's
Sor
eating them.
JP Soares love these pickles. I got to get
Oh,
these pickles. You know.
that's funny.
So how you doing, Al? How you doing, JP? Uh, so anyway, now and then Bonefish Johnny, being the talented guy he is, he designed this label.
Oh wow. See, that's a
Yeah,
great hot spicy dill pickles.
he's
Wow.
very talented, man, at a lot of different levels. So right now, and actually, it became insane, to the point
Hmm.
where I had to dial back and just rest because I'm doing business, trying to do business and do pickles, and pickles is quite a
Yeah.
project. From driving all around trying to pick up my stuff that I need,
Yeah.
and then I got everything but one ingredient. Fuck, I got to go out and get the peppercorns now. But then and also putting them together is a project. So, but I love doing it, but I have to dedicate a good 3 to 4 hours to be able to really do some production. So
Yeah.
anyway, I dialed back, but I'm still getting
Good.
orders, and I'm fulfilling them. But I think your original question was, how do you get some? I'll be glad to send you some, but I'm not really doing mail order now.
Okay, gotcha.
unless you're a millionaire.
That's
I
right.
will.
Well,
I
I'm
will ship.
definitely not,
I
but
will. I will ship to.
that's
I will
right.
ship to you and millionaires.
There you go. Me and millionaires. All right, that's
You.
awesome.
Yeah.
But
You're the
you've got to
exception.
you got to be discerning. You got to be discerning.
Well, it's just a man. It's because I buy the cheap. I buy the cheap ass packing tape, right? So I
Yeah.
pack it. The shit breaks, and then it goes into the roll again, and you can't find the baguette. It's a pain in the ass. So,
So I mean,
so
but let's
let
talk
me
about
just
food.
say this.
Yeah.
Today's program brought to you by Rockin' Jake's Killer Dill is hot and
There we
spicy dill
go.
pickles.
Hey, we'll
Available
turn it into an
only at
infomercial.
Rockin' Jake and Velo Mids gigs.
We'll turn it into an infomercial from here on out. We'll get some money from this thing. Yeah.
Hey, hey, well, now you're talking, baby.
Oh man, we'll sell it out. Yeah. So,
Tom,
but yeah, I was talking about
there
music.
could be a
Yeah, that's kind
commission
of how
in it
it
for
comes
you.
together. So you got this pickle thing going. Have you got any other food loves you might want to put in a jar at some point?
Actually, yeah, I would love to do a whole line, man, of like dry rub, hot
Yeah,
sauce, barbecue sauce.
yeah,
Maybe hopefully someday. I really want to get this off the ground. I've been dragging my feet, developing this into uh, developing into a viable business. And I'm dragging my feet because A, I'm kind of lazy, and B, it costs a lot of money to
yeah,
develop into a business. So,
yeah. It does. Yeah.
but maybe there's some investors out there who want to get involved. I've actually had a couple of offers.
I would imagine, yeah. I mean, it's a good brand. I mean, well, your marketing, your brand, yeah. That's
No
really.
pickle tastes as good as no pickle tastes as good as this, Tom. I guarantee you.
I'm gonna have to get some. Yep, I'm definitely gonna have to get some. I'll do a whole video. I'll do a whole show around of jar pickles.
That's a deal.
I'll make a martini with the pickles.
Yeah, yeah. And you can make a Bloody Mary. You can take the brine
There we
and
go.
pour it in a
Hey,
Bloody Mary.
I can make a bloody. I make a bean Bloody Mary, my friend.
I'm sure you do. You are a cocktail king. You're not only the beer whisperer, the whiskey whisperer, but you're the cocktail whisperer.
Well, that's what happened during 2020. 2020 kind of ruined me because now I'm the best bartender I know. Right?
Right.
Nobody out there can make a cocktail the way I like it better than me.
I feel the same way about food. Why do I want to go to these places, man?
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, you can't make that
Between
as good as I can.
between me, I told my girlfriend, she's Italian. I said, I'm never going to another Italian restaurant again. I mean, she goes, "Oh yeah, we'll go." Well, okay, we'll go. But where are we?
My friends, the David,
Pickle martinis, absolutely pickle martinis.
Bertini, yeah, the Beer Samurai. He's done some shows with me as well. The Beer Samurai, David, yeah.
He's the
So
beer
anyway,
samurai.
he's the beer. I'm the beer whisperer. He's the Beer Samurai.
Wow. Well, you're sort of like the frontline guy, the
Yeah,
diplomat, the reasonable beer guy. But if you
yeah,
got to call it,
yeah. They
if
call him the
the
Samurai.
if you got, you might not be in a situation where reason in diplomacy doesn't work. So you got to
That's
call
it.
him the
You never
samurai.
know.
Right.
How you doing with that Jim Beam there, Jake? At
I am
so we've now made
hammered.
to 6 o'clock in the afternoon.
I am hammered, dude. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I think
Oh,
I'm
mercy.
kidding. I don't
So
even
we're
know if
talking
I'm
about
kidding. Am I
food.
kidding? Who's kidding? I don't know if I'm
Who's
kidding.
kidding? Yeah. We talked about food, music, pickles. Anything
Yeah.
else we want to bring up?
Well, no.
Do you have
I
any other
mean,
gigs you've been working on? Anything coming up? And we talked about your new disc.
yeah, I'm not sure when that's going to come out. We're taking our time.
Okay. You keep
But
me posted on that because I'll let my friends know when that comes out too as
I
well.
will. I don't want to take too much time, but I want to be happy, of course, with it. So, and we're not under any kind of pressure to get it out. But I got to get it out, man. I'd
Yeah.
like to get it out by September or October, if possible. But we'll see. That'll be, some of it I'm not in control of. So, but anyway, what else, man? Gigging. I'm happy as a clam.
As I get ready to wrap this up, don't jump off when we go offline. I'll talk to you for a second. But anyway,
Yeah,
I want to thank Rockin' Jake for coming. So we were trying to put this together like for a long time, but
yeah.
it's been tough with your gig schedule and my schedule. But we finally got you here. Hey man, this has been awesome. I've been a fan of yours for a long time, so I'm glad you
Thank you,
got some
Tom.
new stuff coming out. Really
Well,
excited about the pickles too, and you've kind of made a lot of sense. So you've kind of got to branch yourself out. You can't pigeonhole yourself, I guess, right?
right. Well, it's funny. I mean, I've had people say, you got to have a plan B with the music. Uh, but I always felt that if anything's going to work, I got to jump in 100%. You know what I mean? And that's how
Yeah,
I've been. And I didn't start the pickle thing as a strategic business move. I did
yeah,
it. I did it kind of for fun, and it
yeah.
took off.
And I think
It,
that's
it,
how the
it,
best things get started. It's about out of love first, and if it works, it
right.
works.
And okay, you got me drinking, Tom. So thanks a lot. I really appreciate it.
I'm, I'm,
But
I'm,
uh,
I'm an enabler. I'll admit I'm an enabler.
but I mean, at this point in my life, when we get to this age, you gain some wisdom.
Yeah. Well,
And
one would hope.
you cut, like most of your life, you're saying, "Why am I here? What the hell am I doing?" It kind of hit me. My purpose is to make people happy, man. Through
That's
through
nice.
music, through food, through humor. Uh, yeah, and so the pickles make people happy. My humor makes people happy. My music makes people happy. Some people maybe it doesn't, but that's okay. But if it makes anyone happy, I'm happy.
There, I cannot disagree with that. There we go. Hey, I want to thank Rock and Jake for coming on with me tonight. I am Tom the Beer Whisperer, Beer Evangelist, prolific beer drinker, purveyor of wisdom, and I'm also Tom the Whiskey Whisperer, Whiskey Evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker, purveyor of wisdom, all around good guy. Hey, thanks again, Jake.
Hey, Tom, will
We're
you do me a
talking about
favor?
every damn thing. Yeah,
Uh, would you mind going to FedEx and overnighting me a bottle of Tylenol?
I
I'd
can do it.
appreciate it. I'd
I can.
appreciate
I'm
that.
gonna do that right now.
Well, unfortunately, it's gonna be late because my hangover is probably gonna kick in about 8 o'clock. Right. So,
You don't keep Tylenol handy? Here, I'll give you
oh,
my hangover cure, and you have to do it in this order:
okay.
an Alka Seltzer, a Gatorade, and a Bloody Mary. In that
Interesting.
order.
I've had a couple of people tell me that the brine for my pickles is a good hangover remedy.
Yeah, well, I've
You
heard
know,
people say that as well too. So
it's
there you
got
go. But
vinegar.
I'd add a shot of vodka to it or some Jim Beam if it was me. But
Say that again.
if it was me, I'd add a shot of vodka or a shot of that Jim Beam to that pickle brine, and that'll help that hangover.
All right, I'll take your word for. I can't drink tomorrow. Are you kidding me? I quit tonight. This is it. I'm done. I'm done until Friday when I have to go.
There you go. Yeah, done till
When I
Friday.
have to go to work, that's what I drink.
So I'm off now till Monday. So yeah, so I'm drinking now, and I'll drink Thursday. I'll drink Friday and Saturday. Then I'm done till next
See,
Friday. So
that's funny because I drink on my days on and don't drink on my days off.
yeah, there you go. Well, you got a little different gig than mine, but
Yes,
yours
yes.
works for you. Hey, whatever works for you.
Right, right.
Hey,
It's
thanks again,
funny.
man. I appreciate you coming out with
Tom,
me.
it was a real pleasure, man. I really
Oh man, this
appreciate it.
was awesome. You are oh mercy. Anyways, hey, thanks folks for tuning in. Pickle
Thank you,
martinis. I'm gonna.
everybody. Thank
Oh,
you,
I didn't do that
everybody.
last comment. I'm gonna post that up there from Carl. Definitely pickle martinis. Got to do the pickle martini, man. Anyway, take it
If
easy,
she
guys. Thanks for
if
tuning in.
she
Hey,
wants
thanks
pick,
again, Jake.
let me tell you this, Tom. If
Yeah,
Carla wants pickle martinis, she's gonna have pickle martinis. And I'm gonna make
I hear
make
that.
sure it happens.
So you send me a jar of pickles. I'm gonna devise a martini recipe for you. I'm gonna put that together just for. I'm gonna do the Rockin' Jake
Would you believe
pickle
I've never
martini.
drank? Would you believe I've never drank a martini?
Really? Oh wow, yeah. Oh, we're gonna have to fix that problem.
Tom, you could be my martini whisperer.
I'm kind of an alcohol savant, Jake.
You are, man. I love it. We got.
It is my one and only skill, man. I can pair anything to whatever alcohol would go best to that. It's kind of my superpower.
Right, right. That's great, man. Well, we got to talk. We got to talk on a regular basis. I think, man. I think,
Oh, we
I think we
do,
just
yeah.
started. We just started to kindle a good friendship here, man.
There we go. Hey, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it.
I mean, what I'm trying to say is, I love you, man.
Oh, I
Tom,
love
I
you
love
back,
you,
man.
man. Tom,
We're
Tom,
drink bourbon together. Everybody
Tom,
loves everybody.
Tom, don't go, Tom.
All
Okay.
right. On that note,
All
thanks,
right, man.
guys. Appreciate it. Hey, thanks again, Jake.
Thank you, bro. I really appreciate it, Tom.